good.
Okay. So
And
we've got an audience going here. Hello, everybody. Okay.
All right, thank you for coming to this informative speech presentation about a company that I admire. Before we start, I want to see if you guys can guess which is our company of topic. Perhaps this answers the question. Maybe this one, or possibly one of these. Just in case that doesn't answer the question, we are indeed talking about Nintendo. Now, Nintendo is one of the foremost in their industry, and along with the big three in the competitive video game industry, along with Sony and Microsoft with the Xbox and the PlayStation, Nintendo has stood the test of time, being much older than any of the other ones. But it might be surprising to hear that Nintendo has in fact had other contributions to the market besides just video games. Firstly, I would like to talk about their history and the impact they had on the market, along with their contributions to other fields, such as the medical field, and then how their products help shape people's lives and behaviors. So, first things first, Nintendo started in 1894 as a card-based manufacturing company exclusive to Japan. Their first contribution to video gaming was not actually with Mario or even the NES. It was instead, in 1980, the Game & Watch, a handheld peripheral that could only play one game that was built into the system. While it was successful, nothing would compare to the success they had in 1985 with the first Super Mario Bros. Game, which revolutionized the industry. Now, their success was immediately apparent as they became the most lucrative company from Japan in the US and one of the most lucrative companies in the world. For example, Super Mario Bros. 3 topped $500 million in the US alone. Their success inspired other video game competitors at the time, like Electronic Arts, or as you may know of them today, EA. Also, they managed to get the attention of other big corporations at the time, such as Apple and IBM, where even Apple's CEO at the time was quoted saying Nintendo was their most feared competition in the computer technology industry. Now, it might be all surprising or something you'd expect to hear about Nintendo's past, but what is also shocking is that their contributions go beyond just video games and into a different field, specifically the one I want to talk about being the medical field, and specifically the Wii Balance Board. Now, the Wii Balance Board was actually tested for its effectiveness measuring gait and balance for children, since that is important to measure their growth development, and for senior citizens to prevent falls, since that is a common cause of injury. The technique used before to measure gait and balance was actually something called the force platform, which, while effective, was expensive and difficult to transport. The Wii Balance Board was tested for its effectiveness with children and seniors, and it was actually found to be quite effective in the medical field. And you combine that with its light weight, making it easy to transport, along with its cheap cost, allowing it to be easily reproduced, it made it more practical for field settings than the force platform, which was limited to labs. But Nintendo's products go even further in the medical field than that. How about fighting depression? Nintendo's products, specifically the Wii, was actually used to help combat depression in senior citizens in care facilities. In care facilities, senior citizens have a 25 to 40% chance of developing depression or feelings of loneliness. And a study was done where a group that used the Nintendo Wii for a week actually reported lower feelings of depression and feelings of loneliness than a group that did not. Furthermore, in their products, specifically their games such as Pokemon or Animal Crossing, it's actually proven to improve mental health, as in both of those games you are exposed to a virtual environment, and virtual nature has been shown to help improve people's mental health. But even more so, it can stimulate pro-ecological behaviors, such as in both Animal Crossing and in Pokemon, you are dealing with fictional, fantastical animals, but it can develop interest in the real-life animal that they are based on, which is important because pro-conservation efforts focus on animals that people care about. Furthermore, in both of these games, you are incentivized towards pro-nature behaviors such as planting trees for items or cleaning up litter and recycling for money, which admittedly might be selfish purposes in the game, but it is still a step towards developing positive behaviors in real life. ultimately what this shows is that Nintendo's products have a far-reaching impact beyond just video games, but into other markets and even on people's lives. And ultimately, that is what this discussion is focusing on. It is Nintendo's impact on not just the market, but on so much more, which I don't think is discussed about too much when talking about Nintendo. Now, ultimately, when it comes down to Nintendo, I do think most people will just think of that red Italian plumber who jumps on enemies. But I think there is far more to discuss and to understand about Nintendo. In conclusion, thank you for spending your time with this, and I appreciate everyone's presence and attention. And if you would please pan to the audience one more time, and we will be done.
Yay! Bravo!
And you can